Well, good evening and welcome to the third video of the first day of May. I was watching a video on YouTube last night by Thomas Heaton, who's a photographer, and he's a particularly skillful filmmaker as well. I do enjoy watching his videos, so do check him out. Anyway, the video he was making was about a list of things that he wanted to do and that he wanted to buy when this lockdown, coronavirus, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, was over. And he had quite a long list. It was quite a detailed list. And some of the things on it was a new van. He wanted a new vehicle so he could go away for weekend photography trips. He wanted to buy a whole new camera setup and a whole load of lenses. And he wanted to organise some trips, including Antarctica. He was looking forward to going to Antarctica. And he was saying that making this kind of list in this difficult time was a positive thing, because it was good to think ahead, to look forward, to have positive ideas about things that you do in the future, not to dwell about all the bad things that were happening and possibly all the bad things that were going to happen. In other words, it was good for one's mental health. And I thought, well, if it's good for Thomas Heaton's mental health, maybe it'll be good for mine. So why don't I sit down and write my own little list? And so I got my notebook and I made a little list. And as I was writing it, it seemed to me that my list was rather different from Thomas Heaton's list. Well, not surprisingly, perhaps. But it didn't include, my list didn't include a lot of big, expensive, long-distance trips. It was mainly a collection of small things. So let me go. Sorry about that squeaking, by the way. It's my chair. I suppose one of the things I can do is oil my chair. Anyway, let me go through some of the things on my list. And top of the list was I wanted my son and my daughter to be able to go out and meet their friends, which they hadn't been able to do during lockdown. I wanted to go for a bike ride with my mate Simon, stop off at a cafe somewhere. I wanted to join up with the members of the Old Portland Cycling Club on a Saturday and go for a club ride, as we used to do before the world changed. I wanted to go to the Dulwich Picture House with my wife and see a movie, something we'd gotten into doing, and I was making reviews and putting them on YouTube. There were a few bigger things that I quite fancied. I'd like to go and do some cycling in Flanders with my daughter. I'd like to go and see my brother-in-law in France, preferably with my whole family, if not with my wife. I wanted to go for a walk with my friend Kirsten, an ex-colleague, and we'd started going some fairly regular walks and I was really enjoying them. I wanted to go to Sidmouth with my wife. Sidmouth is kind of our place. You know how married couples or couples with or people with their partners have their song, our song. Well, we have our place, and Sidmouth is one of those places that we like to go. I didn't think, or I didn't put on my list, a new camera. That may partly because I fairly recently got a new camera, a Panasonic GH5, by the way, which is what I'm filming this video on. I did an unboxing of it a few weeks ago. I didn't have a new bike on my list. Now, that may have something to do with the fact that I got a new bike fairly recently, a Fairlight Seacan, a steel bike, which I've only ridden a few times because I don't go out on my bike during lockdown now. But it did strike me that although I sat down and I sucked my pencil and thought about a wish list and things to put on it, there weren't a lot of things. I just wanted to enjoy the time with my family, enjoy the time with a few friends, get out and about a little bit, just enjoy the small things, not worry so much about the big things. Because I think if lockdown and quarantine has taught us anything, or it's taught me something, it's about how you don't need to be out and about all the time. You don't need to be going places all the time. You don't need to be buying stuff all the time, although we are buying quite a lot of stuff online and having it delivered, it must be said. You just need to get back in touch if you've lost it, and to a certain extent perhaps I had. You just need to get back in touch with the world around you, get back in touch with the smallness and the enjoyment of small things and minor accomplishments and friendships and the loves in your life and the importance of family and all those other kind of things. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff on Facebook and Twitter about how we should be getting in touch with our lives in such a way, but maybe there is some truth in what they're saying. Maybe it's time to reassess how we live our lives. Maybe it's time to reassess how we connect with the world around us and how we connect with other people as well. Now, I know that my situation, my family's situation is a lot better than other people's. We have a nice house, we have a nice big garden we can run around in. We're not stuck in a one-bedroom flat. There's enough room in the house for the four of us not to get under each other's feet all the time. We can spread out. Whereas if you're living in a one-bedroom flat and there's a family of you, or a studio flat, whatever it is, and you haven't got a garden, you haven't got a balcony, you've got very little outside space to play around in, then your lives are very different. And if you've lost your job or finances are very difficult and there isn't enough money and you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, well then again, life is very different. It is a luxury to focus on the small things, and I do recognize that. But nonetheless, I think there is an opportunity for all of us in whatever situation we're in to recognize that we will come out of this lockdown, quarantine, pandemic nightmare. Is it a nightmare? It's for a lot of people, but for a lot of people it's not a nightmare. But we will come out of it. We will come out to probably a different world, and a world that's different in ways that we probably can't imagine. But while we're here and we're still alive and we're healthy and we have enough to eat and a roof over our heads and we can put the heating on. It's a bloody cold day today, wasn't it? 1st of May, would you believe it? We will come out of it, and when we do, will we be better people? I don't know. Will I be a better person, a nicer person? I don't know. I hope so. I think I've mellowed a bit, not too much, but mellowed a bit. So just a few random thoughts from a man in his garage on a Friday evening while waiting to go and watch Afterlife with the missus. So, hope you're enjoying yourselves. Hope you're getting through coronavirus. Hope your families and you are doing well. See you next time.